Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to help you get ready for those interviews for ITI fitter, fabricator, and mechanical fitter roles.
Oh, right.
Now I know
Right.
50 interview questions might seem a little daunting,
Yeah.
but don't worry.
We're here to break it all down.
We're going to break it down and make it manageable.
Absolutely.
Right,
And
right.
what I think is so cool about having so many questions is it really gives us an opportunity to get to the core of what these professions are all about.
Totally.
We're not going to just give you answers. We're
Right.
going to help you understand why those answers matter in the first place.
Yeah, let's start with some definitions.
Okay.
Because our source actually breaks down these roles very clearly.
Yes.
They say that ITI fitters are really the masters of making sure things run smoothly.
Right.
Fabricators are the ones who build the structures.
Yeah.
And mechanical fitters actually often blend both of those worlds.
That's a great point. It's kind of like thinking about a car, right?
Oh yeah, like a car.
The ITI fitter would be the person who's making sure that the engine is running perfectly. The fabricator would be the person who built that sleek chassis.
Oh wow, yeah.
And the mechanical fitter might be involved in both, making sure that the whole car is running smoothly from start to finish.
They're all connected.
Exactly. They're all connected, working together to create a functioning machine.
So we've got our definitions down.
Yes.
Let's imagine you're stepping onto the shop floor.
Right.
What are some of the tools you'd find in your toolbox?
Oh, well, you would definitely have your trusty hammers and wrenches, but there are also specialized tools that really demand precision and skill.
Okay.
For example, our source mentions the micrometer.
Oh, micrometer.
Have you ever held one?
I don't think so, no.
Imagine holding this small tool and feeling its precision
Yeah.
as you measure the thickness of a metal sheet down to 1/1000th of an inch.
Wow. That's incredible.
That's the level of accuracy that's demanded in these roles.
Such a tiny tool, but it can make such a big difference. Speaking of precision, let's talk about welding.
Okay.
Our source highlights MIG and TIG welding.
Yes.
What's the difference between the two?
So picture MIG welding like using a hot glue gun to draw with molten metal.
Oh, okay.
It's fast, and it's often used for larger projects like constructing a building frame.
Uh-huh.
Now imagine TIG welding like using a tiny torch to meticulously sculpt with metal.
Oh, wow.
It's precise and it's perfect for intricate work, like crafting delicate parts for an aircraft engine.
So MIG is like the sprinter,
Yes.
and TIG is like the marathon runner,
That's a great analogy.
really focusing on that precision over speed.
Absolutely.
That's really interesting. And as you're preparing for these interviews, think about which style kind of resonates more with you.
Yeah.
Do you like the speed or do you like that meticulous nature?
Right. What are you drawn to?
Yeah, because I think that kind of self-reflection will not only help you answer those questions,
Yep.
but really understand what excites you about these roles.
Exactly. Self-awareness is key here.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the materials themselves.
All right.
We're talking about steel, aluminum, brass.
All sorts of metals, each with their own personality and purpose.
It's like choosing the right ingredients for a recipe.
I love that analogy.
You wouldn't use flour to build a house.
Exactly. You got to use the right material for the job.
So why is understanding these materials so important?
Well, because knowing the properties of each metal dictates how you work with it.
Okay.
Take heat treatment, for example.
Okay.
Imagine you need to bend a metal pipe without it cracking.
Yeah.
Annealing would soften that metal up, allowing you to shape it easily.
Okay.
But to make sure that pipe can withstand pressure, you then temper it
Mm-hmm.
to increase its toughness.
So you kind of have to treat it in a special way.
It's like giving the metal a spa day, softening it up, and then giving it the strength to handle whatever comes its way.
I love that analogy.
It's a bit of a funny way to think about it.
Yeah, but it totally makes sense.
Right.
Like it needs to be ready for the job.
Yeah. Prepare it.
What about lubrication?
Oh, lubrication is essential.
Okay.
Think of it this way. Imagine a bicycle chain grinding away without any oil.
Yeah.
It's going to squeak, it'll wear down quickly and eventually break.
Uh-huh.
Lubrication is the oil that keeps the machinery running smoothly.
Right.
It reduces friction between moving parts.
Okay.
It prevents wear and tear, and it ensures that everything works as it should.
It's like the unsung hero.
It really is.
Yeah.
Without it, you're looking at friction, heat buildup, and ultimately mechanical failure.
So it's really preventing those metal-on-metal squabbles.
Exactly. Keeping things running smoothly.
Keeping things happy.
Happy machines, happy workers.
But even with proper lubrication,
Yeah,
Things can go wrong.
absolutely. Even with meticulous care, issues can arise.
Our source mentions common defects like cracks and welds.
Right, and those can be a big problem.
Why are those so important to catch?
Imagine a crack in a weld on a bridge or a pressure vessel.
Oh,
The consequences could be catastrophic.
yeah, you don't want that.
Absolutely not. That's why knowing how to spot and fix these defects is crucial for ensuring safety and reliability.
So we've talked about tools, materials, and even potential problems.
I have.
Now let's get into problem solving on the job.
Okay.
Our source provides a few scenarios that you might encounter in an interview.
All right.
And honestly, in real life, too.
Yeah, that's the thing. These are real-world scenarios
Yeah.
that you're going to face on the job.
So one scenario is a misaligned shaft.
Okay.
Let's say you're on the job and you encounter this issue.
Right.
How would you go about troubleshooting it?
The first step is to stay calm and assess the situation.
Okay.
Our source suggests using a dial gauge to check the alignment and making careful adjustments.
Right.
But it's not just about knowing the steps.
Yeah.
It's about demonstrating a logical and systematic approach.
So how would you kind of like walk them through that?
Right. You want to show them that you can think critically and solve problems effectively.
What other tools could you use, or what safety considerations
sacrifice.
would you have to keep in mind?
Think about all those things.
Yeah.
How would you explain your process to your supervisor?
It's like a whole thought process that goes into it.
That's right.
Okay, let's imagine another scenario. A machine suddenly stops working.
Oh, that's a classic one.
What would be your first steps?
Right. This is a scenario designed to test your ability to think on your feet and stay calm under pressure.
That's interesting.
It's a pressure test.
Yeah, it is.
That's precisely what interviewers are looking for. They want to see that you can handle pressure, prioritize safety, and approach problems systematically.
So we've covered a lot of ground already. Definitions, tools, materials, and even some real-world problem solving.
We have, and you know what? There's one more crucial element that employers really look for.
What's that?
Soft skills.
Oh, those soft skills. Let's talk about that in part 2.
Let's do it.
All right, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. We just left off talking about those real-world problem-solving scenarios you might encounter in an interview. But now let's shift gears a little bit and delve into those soft skills that we mentioned.
Yeah, let's talk about those soft skills, because our source emphasizes teamwork, communication, problem solving under pressure.
It's so important.
And these skills might not be as tangible as like a wrench or a welding torch,
Yeah.
but they're just as critical
Oh, absolutely.
for success in these roles.
Imagine you're working on a complex fabrication project,
Okay?
like building a bridge or assembling a massive piece of machinery. Could you do it alone?
No way. It'd be impossible.
Exactly. You need a team of skilled professionals,
Yeah.
each with their own expertise, working together seamlessly,
Right.
and that's where teamwork comes in.
So how do you really like showcase that in an interview?
That's where storytelling can be so powerful. Think about a time when you collaborated on a challenging project. What were the obstacles? How did you contribute to the team's success? What did you learn from that experience? Sharing a concrete example will paint a vivid picture for the interviewer.
So it's not just saying like, oh, I'm a team player.
Yeah.
It's really showing them.
Show, don't tell.
Yeah, through a real life story.
Exactly.
All right, so let's move on to communication.
Okay.
In these hands-on roles, communication isn't just about words.
It's more than that.
It's about clarity, precision, understanding technical language.
Because think about it, miscommunication on a job site could lead to costly mistakes or even safety hazards.
Right. You don't want that.
No, absolutely not.
So imagine you're in an interview and they ask you to explain the purpose of a lathe to someone who's never seen one.
Oh, that's a good one.
How would you do that?
You wouldn't want to bog down in technical jargon, right?
No.
You'd need to explain it in a way that's clear, concise, and easy for anyone to understand.
Could you use an analogy maybe?
An analogy. That's brilliant. That's exactly the kind of thinking that's going to impress an interviewer. You're not just regurgitating information, you're demonstrating your ability to communicate complex ideas effectively. And using an analogy like comparing it to a potter's wheel shaping clay,
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
right? It makes it relatable.
Okay, now let's not forget about problem solving under pressure,
Ah, yes, the pressure cooker.
because these roles often involve unexpected challenges, tight deadlines.
Absolutely. Things can change quickly on a job site.
So how can someone really showcase their ability to handle those pressure cooker situations?
Think about a time when you faced a sudden obstacle at work or even in a personal project. How did you react? Did you panic or did you take a deep breath, assess
Okay.
the situation, and come up with a solution?
That reminds me of that scenario our source mentioned about a machine suddenly stopping.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about knowing the technical fix.
It's about the mindset.
Yeah,
It's about demonstrating your ability to stay calm, troubleshoot systematically, and prioritize safety.
right. And don't be afraid to share those learning moments as well.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone makes mistakes.
But it's how you learn from those mistakes and adapt.
That's what really matters.
Okay, so we've talked about teamwork, communication, problem solving under pressure.
We've covered a lot.
But there's one more question that I think often stumps people in interviews.
Oh, it's that.
What motivates you?
Ah, yes, the motivation question.
Yeah.
This is your chance to really let your passion shine through.
Okay.
Why are you drawn to these hands-on roles? Is it the satisfaction of building something tangible, the problem-solving aspect, the precision and skill required?
It's like giving them a glimpse into your inner workshop,
Exactly.
showing them the spark that really ignites you.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we've covered those soft skills.
Those crucial soft skills.
But let's not forget about all of the technical knowledge required for these roles.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole other layer there.
Our source really provides this deep dive into the specific tools, processes, concepts
The nitty-gritty details.
that you'll likely encounter in an interview.
You got to know your stuff.
Yeah, so let's dive into those technical questions in part 3.
All right, let's do it.
We'll break down those concepts, relate them to real-world applications, and hopefully give you the confidence to really tackle those interviews head-on.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned. Okay, we are back for the final part of our deep dive
Part 3.
into those 50 interview questions.
All right, let's do it.
We've covered a lot of ground, definitions, tools, soft skills, even those problem-solving situations.
Yeah.
But now it's time to put your technical knowledge to the test.
These final questions really get into the specifics
Okay.
of ITI fitter, fabricator, and mechanical fitter roles.
Yeah.
And they're designed to see if you not only know the terms, but you understand the why behind them.
So it's not just about knowing how to use a wrench.
No.
It's about understanding the mechanics
Exactly.
behind the torque and
Yeah.
why choosing the right wrench matters.
It's about the principles behind the tools and the techniques.
For example, one question asks about preventing distortion in metal during fabrication.
Okay.
Now, that might seem simple on the surface,
Yeah.
but it actually requires a pretty deep understanding of material properties and welding techniques.
Absolutely.
Our source mentions using clamps, preheating the material, and distributing heat evenly during welding to minimize distortion.
Right.
What happens if you don't do that?
Well, imagine you're fabricating a part for an aircraft engine.
Okay.
Even a slight distortion could throw off the balance
Oh, wow.
and lead to serious problems. Or think about a structural beam in a building.
Yeah.
If it's warped, it could compromise the integrity of the whole structure.
So it's a big deal?
It's a huge deal. Precision and attention to detail are absolutely crucial in these roles.
Yeah. Another question that really digs into the technical knowledge is about selecting the right cutting tool for the job.
Okay.
Now, it might seem obvious, but there's a lot more to it than just grabbing the sharpest tool in the drawer.
Right. You got to think about it a little more carefully than that.
So I can't just take my scissors to a sheet of metal.
Probably not the best approach. You need to consider the type of metal you're cutting, the thickness, the desired finish, even the speed of the operation.
Oh, wow.
Using the wrong tool can damage the material,
Okay.
create an inaccurate cut, or even be a safety hazard.
So it's like choosing the right kitchen knife.
Yes, I love that analogy.
You wouldn't use a paring knife to carve a roast right.
Exactly. Each tool has its purpose, and using the right one ensures efficiency and a quality outcome.
Now, there's a question about measuring thread pitch.
Okay, thread pitch.
To be honest, I'm not even sure I know what that is.
Well, imagine looking closely at a screw or a bolt.
Okay.
You'll see those spiraling ridges, those are the threads, and thread pitch refers to the distance between those threads.
Okay.
To measure it accurately, you use a special tool called a thread pitch gauge.
So it's like this tiny ruler for all those microscopic details.
Precisely. Getting the thread pitch right is crucial for making sure parts sit together securely and function the way they should.
Another pair of processes that I think often get confused are drilling and reaming.
Yes, those two often get mixed up.
So drilling is making the hole and reaming is making it bigger.
You're on the right track. Drilling creates the initial hole and reaming enlarges it
Okay.
and smooths it out to very precise dimensions.
So it's all about that refinement.
Exactly. Think about installing a bearing in a machine.
Okay.
The hole needs to be perfectly sized for that bearing to fit snugly and rotate smoothly. That's where reaming comes in.
So drilling is kind of like creating a rough draft.
I like that.
And reaming is making those final edits.
Refining it to perfection.
Now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some common materials
Okay.
used in fitting and fabrication.
This is where knowing your metals really comes in handy.
Yeah.
Our source mentions steel, aluminum, brass, stainless steel, each with its own unique properties, and understanding those differences is crucial.
Right, because it's like knowing the difference between hardwoods and softwoods.
It-
If you're building a piece of furniture, you're going to choose different things for different purposes.
Right, the right material for the job.
Now let's talk about lubrication again.
Okay, lubrication.
Why do you think it's such a key concept?
Well, as we talked about earlier, lubrication is like the lifeblood of any machine.
Yeah.
Without it, parts would grind against each other, creating friction, heat, and eventually a breakdown.
Right, you want to keep things running smoothly.
Exactly. And remember, a well-lubricated machine is a happy machine.
Our source also asks about common defects in welding.
All right.
Why is it so important to be able to identify those?
Think back to our aircraft engine example. A crack or a void in a weld could have disastrous consequences.
Yeah.
It's not just about creating a visually appealing weld.
Right.
It's about understanding the potential weaknesses that can compromise the integrity of that joint.
So you really need to have that keen eye for detail,
Absolutely.
knowing what to look for.
It's like being a detective searching for clues.
Finally, let's talk about preventive maintenance.
Okay, preventive maintenance.
This concept really ties everything together, wouldn't you say?
It really does. It's not just about fixing things when they break.
Right.
It's about taking proactive steps to make sure things run smoothly
Yeah.
and last as long as possible.
So preventive maintenance encompasses all the skills and knowledge we've talked about today.
It really does.
Understanding material properties, selecting the right tools, proper welding techniques, even recognizing those defects.
It's all connected.
It's like the culmination of it all.
That's the big picture.
So as you're preparing for those interviews,
Yes.
remember, you're not just showcasing those technical skills.
Right.
You're showing your ability to think critically,
Problem solved.
solve those problems, and apply that knowledge
Absolutely.
to real-world situations.
And don't forget those soft skills. Teamwork, communication, problem solving under pressure. They're just as important as knowing how to operate a lathe or measure thread pitch.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. And hopefully you've gained some valuable insights into the world of ITI fitter, fabricator, and mechanical fitter roles.
Absolutely.
So we hope that you feel empowered and ready to tackle those interviews head on.
You got this.
Now, this is just a starting point.
That's right.
It's up to you to really go out there,
Keep learning.
expand that knowledge,
Practice your skills.
and really show those interviewers what you're made of.
Show what you got.
Keep this question in mind. How does the concept of preventive maintenance connect to every aspect of these roles? It's something to ponder as you step into the exciting world of hands-on craftsmanship.
Good luck with your job search.
Best of luck.